everyone, and welcome back to the Sentinel Talk Show. I'm your host, Dr. Erdal, and today I'm really honored to have a cybersecurity veteran with us. With more than 35 years of experience as a consultant, as a trainer, as an expert in conferences, he's going to join us today, and I'm sure we will have a lot to learn from him. I will ask him questions about the current cybersecurity landscape, about AI, about quantum computing. And one more interesting thing, this is a C-level show. George is a certified CISO instructor as well, and he delivered classes all across the globe. I think, if I'm not wrong, more than 30 countries so far. But enough, I spoke about him. One other thing, of course, he's a very good friend of mine. And before I speak more, here's George. Welcome to the show, George.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me, Erdal. It's very good to talk.
You are a good friend of mine. More importantly, like a mentor to me. We spend lots of time with you across the globe, different conferences. And today, I can proudly say that I learned a lot from you as well. And I thought our audience can learn from you as well. But before that, who are you? What are you doing? Please shortly introduce yourself to us.
Thank you again, Erdal. So I'm working in cybersecurity consulting and training services for a long time. Working with military, public, governments, and commercial organizations, helping people and organizations to better protect their assets against cyber attacks. So what I'm effectively doing, I'm preparing the cybersecurity teams. I'm preparing the blue team guys, the defenders, who are implementing the security controls in organizations, making our organizations more secure. I'm including here the incident responders, the forensic investigators, the security analysts, and I'm preparing as well the red team guys.
So you do training these days, ensuring that people are aware, people are ready to defeat cyber threats.
Yes, of course. And I'm preparing as well. Part of my job is that one to prepare the red teams. I mean, the guys who are verifying, checking if the job of the blue team guys, it's properly done. So they are checking, and I mean the ethical hackers, I mean the penetration testers. And there is another part of my job, preparing as well the purple teams. So a purple team, it's a mixed team, including people from the blue team, red teams, sitting together around the table and actually playing complex scenarios of attacks, simulating attacks, and improving actually the security of the organization. And they are inviting multiple stakeholders typically. The guys from legal, the guys from risk management, business risk management in organization, human resources, and the most important thing, they are inviting as well in such tabletop exercises, the business management of the organization. So we have very good experience.
Anyway, yes, right? Yes. Perfect. And this is what we're going to talk today about. So that's the main reason why I invited you. For the ones that don't know, he's based in Romanian Airlines C3A. Oh, sorry. Always on the flights, traveling across the globe. But of course, Romanian Airlines means he's based in Romania, but he comes to US a lot. He goes all across the globe, as I mentioned. Okay, George, enough about us. Let's help people. While I got you here, let's give them the opportunity to learn from you. As you know, generative AI is big. It started to shape the landscape. Now, I know you do deliver CISO trainings as well, and I know you do CISO advisor as well. looking at this AI attacks, how can CISOs prepare defense mechanism against deepfakes, about automated phishing, about synthetic identity fraud? So you mentioned all these trainings. So what are you training so we can learn to defeat generative AI threats?
So, we are seeing this effectively. Actually, generative AI, it was dramatically lowering the barrier for launching sophisticated attacks. So it's not necessary to provide too many details because we are seeing this actually day by day. So attacks that it was a bit difficult, sophisticated attacks may be generated very easy using accessible AI tools and platforms. So a chief information security officer has a very important role to prepare the organization to be resilient to such increasing number and sophistication of such attacks. For example, implementing additional security controls like biometric liveness check, behavior-based anomaly detection, deepfake detection tools. So those ones should be implemented basically in every single organization. And actually, the promoter of this new strategy should be an efficient chief information security officer. So he's responsible for AI simulating phishing scenarios, for example, the implementation in an organization to improve the awareness, and establishing governance at the organizational level around AI use, which is actually very, very important to prevent misuse and to maintain trust in our organization, in your organization.
So correct. I mean, I cannot agree more on what you said. So when you look at AI, we CISOs, we use AI to defend against those attacks. But as it was asked in the original part of the question, bad guys are using it as well. Do you think AI is gonna change how? Do you think AI is gonna replace you as a trainer or me as a CISO?
Yes, of course, because it's our responsibility to learn about the newest threats, those threats, which are evolving very quickly, dramatically. Yeah. If you remember, for example, last year we had very little conversation about AI agents. Now it's something that we have to consider because the bad actors are using those opportunities to automate, actually, to launch automated attacks, which are very difficult to defend against using the traditional way. So, I mean, considering basic security controls that any organization it was considering before to use. So you have to adjust the strategy, and you have to convince, actually, all people in the organization, including the business management in the organization. It's a responsibility of the chief information security officer, actually, to implement a new strategy, to make anyone in an organization to adopt the new strategy related to the newest threats. And you did mention AI, but we can talk as well about quantum computing, which is another major threat. Actually. Yes, exactly.
Quantum computing, right? We had Erdal from Microsoft in the show earlier, and he spoke about AI as well. We had other experts, AI experts. Speaking about AI, you are an expert as well, don't get me wrong, but saying quantum computing. But when we first started into IT, we learned about how important encryption is. The more higher encryption standards we have, the harder it is for hackers to crack it. But now we talk about quantum computing. When we talk about quantum computing, what are the practical implications of quantum computing for current encryption standards? Now, as CISO or as CISO trainer, you recommend to implement encryptions. But now, having quantum computers, which is huge, can crack this code in seconds. So how should we, as CISOs, prepare for a post-quantum security environment?
So this is a very good question. So I'm taking this question from many of people I have conversation with. When it will be the Q day? What is Q day? Is that day when actually the technology will be so powerful that decrypting actually all secrets we are considering now as being protected enough, like RSA, elliptic cryptography, and so on. When it will be that Q day? We are still far from there. Some people are saying, okay, 2030, it will be the year when quantum computing could actually break the actual encryption. But looking at the progress of the quantum computing technology, we are expecting maybe that they should be come even earlier. So we should be prepared. And there is another behavior we're seeing now, even at the national state level in some countries. We should be familiar with this concept on harvest now, decrypt later. I mean, some actors are capturing now encrypted traffic like databases, network traffic, and so even they are not able now to decrypt it, in that hope that in a few years, so the secrets they will be able to retrieve, they will still be useful in order to generate malicious activity. So this is a very big threat. So we are making efforts at the standardization organizations, and we are seeing some progress at the national level in order to define actually the new algorithms, to adopt the new algorithms, to implement quantum resisting actually a mechanism in order to protect the data. So in a such way that the data should be still protected even after the Q day. But we are still far from adopting at a large scale. For example, we have some algorithms which are adopted. We have actually some is actually defining the algorithms and actually defining actually the as a framework, for next level of digital signature or encryption. But this is not largely adopted. We should make some efforts related to this. We are seeing some vendors are implementing already protected VPN to quantum threats, for example, just an example. But we are still far from implementing such technology at a large scale. So we should actually accelerate this behavior to be ready to implement in your organization the quantum resisting cryptography, digital signature mechanism, to be ready for the next years when actually quantum computing, it will be a real threat. I'm based in Europe, and I see now, it was announced yesterday, I think, large efforts at the European Union level in order to fund some projects to implement, actually to define the technology and to implement each quantum resisting cryptography, for example, at the European level. But we are still far from large adoption of this.
I mean, looking at your career, 35 years, you saw, Microsoft coming from scratch, from 1.0 all the way to 2025, Windows Server 2025. You saw neural computing, you saw cloud computing, you saw Exchange, I remember when cloud was new, then we were talking about AI. Last time I think I saw you, I think a few years ago in Miami, and last year I think I saw you in Atlanta, right?
Right.
we're speaking about AI, but now we are in the middle of AI. As you said, it's really important to prepare for quantum resistance, because time is going to fly soon, and I hope you're going to be another 25 years. I don't want you to work too hard. 35 years around to mentor us, and we're going to probably say that, hey, remember on June 2025 or whatever the date is, we spoke about this before. Anyway. Now, you are also seeing many cyber attacks, and most of the time we say it's really hard to stop hacker. All what we can do is make their life harder. What I'm trying to say, usually hackers are like water, and they find the way. Chat actors, they find the way to reach to us. And most of the time, when we teach our classes, when you teach your classes, you say it's really hard to stop state-sponsored attacks. Looking at the political tensions across the globe, 3 months ago, India and Pakistan, they had a fight. Israel and Iran started to fight, and this, China, US, they are sort of fight. In light of increasing geopolitical tensions and state-sponsored cyber attacks, now, what can we CISOs design in terms of strategy to be more resilient against APTs, which is advanced persistent threats?
Well, yeah, we are seeing actually an increasing number of state-sponsored attacks. This is a real situation because of the, as you did mention, the complex geopolitical situations in many areas of the world. So a few years ago, we were talking with some precaution about the attribution of complex, advanced, and persistent threat attacks. Say maybe the Russian guys, maybe some other, maybe Chinese guys, maybe some other nations are actually sponsoring actually those attacks. But we had some suppositions. It was not actually proved, or we were avoiding actually to talk too much about the state-sponsored attack scenarios. But now it's very clear, and even at the country level, some bad actors, some criminal groups sponsored by the governments are not hiding actually anymore. Yeah. So they do recognize actually, as you mentioned, in some conflicts, even the hacking groups are actually splitting. Some of them are supporting one part involved in that war, and another groups are supporting that, and they're fighting each other.
Right? They're not AI. They are humans, and they support whoever they like. They might support US. They might support Russia. You are 100% right.
Exactly. And what I'm considering related to this, we should be actually familiar with a lot of topics related to attribution. It's very important for me as a company, who is actually targeting my organization, who has some interest in targeting my organization based on the profile of my organization, and don't consider to be just part of the critical infrastructure cyber attacks. Because even if you're a small company, you are part of a supply chain, and you are supplying some goods and services to organizations which are part of the critical infrastructure. And we are talking a lot, not just about cybersecurity incidents. We are talking about cyber crisis, and we should have a conversation about cyber crisis. Many attacks, cyber attacks now, are starting as a ransomware attack, let's say, and after that, it's actually launching a full crisis affecting the life of people in a country and many organizations, and so the impact it's quite high. What we have to do, my recommendation is that one for any organization to increase the efforts in the internal security teams to cyber threat intelligence, to have a proactive approach related to cyber threat intelligence, because cyber threat intelligence as a tactic, as a discipline, it's helping us to better understand the philosophy of incoming attacks that should affect our organization. We have to understand, and cyber threat intelligence is providing information in different layers, starting with technical information like indicators of compromise of some common attacks, going to that part of TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, and ending up with the information, the reports that should actually go to the strategic level. I mean, to the business guys, they should be aware and they should change maybe the strategy of the organization, sometimes even changing something in the business strategy of the organization. So cyber threat intelligence, again, should be adopted by any single organization, small or big organization, to invest in it, to understand about the potential threats, the incoming threats, and how to defend against them, providing a very good incentives to the guys who are involved in actually effectively building the security controls in organization to change actually their approach.
I cannot agree more. Cyber threat intelligence is so important, and when they ask me why, I keep saying that. Look, spies, threat services for governments are there since first day of humans. Everybody knows FBI, CIA, Mossad, KGB, all these letters. This is helping governments to collect information to stay more secure, and this is the same thing in cybersecurity. Cyber threat intelligence is the same thing in cybersecurity. And thank you for bringing this up. I think it's really important. You also mentioned during your talk about supply chain. We mentioned geopolitical tensions. We mentioned supply chain. Governments' friendship can change on many stuff. When we talk about supply chain attack, I think everybody will remember SolarWinds attack. Even world's largest cybersecurity company was affected. Or everybody will remember the California hospital attack happened in the US, or the pipeline attacks happened in the past. So, in this geopolitical tension, while everything is depending on supply chain. For example, my iPhone or even my Google phone, designed in California, made in China, which I don't mind, but as we all know, this is posing some risks. How should we CISOs evaluate and respond to the cybersecurity risk posed by global supply chain dependencies, especially in these political situations, and more importantly, in politically unstable regions?
Yes, this is very important to consider, I think, because any organization, it's part of a huge supply chain. Any organization has hundreds of suppliers, and it's supplying services and goods to other organizations. And it's a global dependency, actually. As you were saying, it's okay. You cannot say I don't have any suppliers outside my country, and all the suppliers are obeying the same rules. Actually, we did agree at the national level. This is a complete illusion. Yeah. What we have to do is actually to implement some additional mechanism in order to do assessment, to assess actually the members of your supply chain, the components of your supply chain, the major ones. For example, in Europe, we are adopting now NIS2, which is actually requiring for any organization, it's mandatory not to do assessments inside the organization, security assessments inside the organization, but it's your responsibility as an organization to check actually the security implementation of the strategy to your main suppliers. It's your responsibility. You are not absolved to this, and you have to do this effectively. And what you have to do, you have to do an assessment. If your organization is subject of NIS2, many organizations, thousands of organizations in Europe are subject of this, especially those ones providing critical services to the people in the country. So they have actually to do such assessment of the supply chain members, and actually to avoid to change actually the strategy, canceling the contracts, even canceling the contracts with some suppliers in some countries, for example, regions with known cyber conflict histories. So it's actually changing a lot. The situation is very dynamic here, and a lot of situations, actually everything is changing overnight. Any organization should actually, regarding the software, because the major risk, it's related to the software you are using in your organization. So we should have transparency. You should use a software bills of material in organization, very accurate one, yeah, and even escrow agreements. Okay, and this is a responsibility of the Chief Information Security Officer to make the deals inside the organization and to make sure that the business guys in organization working in procurement, let's say, they are able to handle everything in terms of security, including those assessments to partner organizations, because otherwise the risk of exposure, yeah, the risk for your organization, it's too high. As a CISO, you should be familiar even with the jurisdiction in different countries, because there are different regulations operating. We don't have a global agreement. Actually,
we have different registrations, right? Like in Germany, for example, Bundesrepublik. In US, for example, I live in New Jersey. It's different to California.
Yes, exactly.
In Europe, all these different countries have DORA, for example, or Erdal, for example. Not me. I'm talking about the registration. You're right, actually. Sorry, I cut you off.
And this is a cost related to this, because making such assessment, there is a high cost associated, yeah, to this, because being compliant, as you mentioned, with DORA, NIS2, CRA, for example, sometimes you have to, even if you are obeying the regulations, yeah, valid in European Union, your country, or in the United States. I did count, for example, an organization should sometime report to no less a financial organization, for example, in Europe. They should actually report the compliance status to no less than 20 different organizations, which is incurring an additional cost, yeah. But definitely you have to do this, yeah, because there is no way to avoid this. Otherwise, you'll see huge fines. And sometimes there are some apparently, not, I wouldn't say conflicts, but contradictions, yeah, between GDPR or CRA or NIS2 or some other regulations, and people are very confused. So the goal of that, the mission, I would say, of an efficient Chief Information Security Officer is to not focus only on the technical aspects, but instead to be familiar with all of the aspects, including the legal compliance, and actually just to make sure that everything is working fine organization, and actually the organization is avoiding a lot of risk associated to supply chain threats and so on.
George, having you on the show means I can talk all day. I mean, every time I see you, I remember I think it was 2008 in Microsoft Ignite, right? Everybody went to party. You and I, we skipped the party and we spoke hours, I think till 2, 3 a.m. So I don't want this to happen here, even though I enjoy speaking with you along. So we came towards end of our time. So just before I go, or before I let you go, more importantly, I know you are a guru. I respect you a lot, and thank you again for joining the show.
I'm taking this as a compliment. It's not true, but thank you so much, by the way.
No. You know this. I'm not saying this because you are guest, I'm saying this from deep of my heart. Two part of this question. One, for the ones they want to be CISO. Two, for the CISOs or for anybody, CIOs. You do training, but what three things that we should care? First of all, for someone who wants to excel in their careers, three things that should care shortly, please.
Well, you mean an advice for a modern CISO, right?
First of all, advice for someone who wants to be a CISO, someone who wants to be like you, or CIO or security manager, in terms of cybersecurity, of course.
Okay, so my advice is that one to learn a lot, not to focus only on the technical aspects, because it's a big mistake sometimes. Try to listen to anyone in an organization, to listen to all stakeholders in organization, all relevant stakeholders in organization. Try to understand their particular interest, business interest in organization, and simulating actually worst scenarios.
That's for experience.
Bringing together people, because you are as a CISO, you are a main actor in this, and people, they have big expectation from you related to this. You should be flexible, again, to learn a lot, to learn about the new technologies, to trust people, to find people they could help you even outside the organization, and to make your activity trusted and credible.
Perfect. Anything else that you like to add that I forgot to ask that you think it's important?
Sorry, say again, please.
My questions are over. Do you have anything that you want to add that you think I forgot to ask, that you want to share some insights?
Well, I think for all our listeners, if they enjoy the activity in cybersecurity, they should go ahead. It's not a very comfortable job. It's not coming to be a very comfortable job, but actually you are feeling good when you are actually doing something good for your people in your organization, for your people around. Yeah, it's something that you should feel actually good doing your activity, managing actually the cybersecurity and providing better protection to your organization.
Thank you very much, George. I really appreciate it that you joined the show. With this, we're coming to the end. So thank you very much again for joining. That wraps up for another incredible, insightful discussion. Again, huge thank you to George, a good friend of mine, a cybersecurity veteran. He gave his experiences to us, from AI to cybersecurity training to threat landscape. For everybody who's watching this, we hope the conversation that we had today was good enough, and you learned some actionable strategies. Next week, we will have a new guest. That's all for this episode. Don't forget to follow us at Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever we are. And I'm really looking forward to talking to you with our new guest next week. Thank you very much, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.